Morning, Lakshmi.
Morning, Pradeep. Okay, so let's continue from what we have discussed yesterday. So yesterday we had started discussing about some more thing about analysis. Yesterday we have created the dashboard, and in the dashboard we have created 4 pages. One page has a welcome page. And here is a welcome page where we created a couple of links and embedded content, and we kept alert, and also we kept other pages for HCM analysis, and also for the finance analysis, and also for the sales analysis. We have kept 3 analysis in the dashboard, and in the HCM analysis we kept 2 sections. Section 1 is actually it's a menu analysis where we created menu linking to the different other analysis. Basically, we have created that. It's a dashboard, and also as part of that dashboard, we have seen how to create dashboard prompt and filter, and we have also scheduled the dashboard to run on a frequent basis. And once we run the agent, basically the scheduling of dashboards happens through agent. Yesterday we have created an agent for that, and we ran the agent for that. Whenever we run the agent, whenever we schedule the agent, as and when the agent runs, as and when the dashboard gets updated, typically you will get alerts like this in your homepage, in your BS server homepage. You get alerts like that. Whenever you get alert, it means that something has run for you. So it is a dashboard. You got subscribed as a recipient, and because of that, this alert came up saying that it's last delivered on 5/16/355 a.m. That's what it say. So if you click on this dashboard, automatically it will open up. It will open up what is the dashboard, what is the content here. It opens up automatically, right? And whatever be the number of BI dashboards or analysis that is scheduled to deliver to you, or you go and subscribe to that agent automatically. Whenever that schedule runs, then automatically this alert will show the list of analysis or dashboards or reports that you are registered as a recipient, or that you registered as a subscriber. So in either case, it will show up here. We have seen the alerts, and now what I wanted to do, once I have the dashboard created, now I wanted to bring this dashboard into the Fusion applications. So how can I bring this dashboard into my Fusion application? Why do we need to bring this dashboard into the Fusion applications? Typically what happens, if you wanted to run any dashboard or run any analysis, what we need to do, we have to come to the BI server. So instead of do that navigation, what if you give a provision to see the user, to see the dashboard in the Fusion application itself? How can you do that? Basically, for that we have a provision for that too. Oracle has given that provision where you can embed the dashboard into your Fusion applications. You can do that. Okay. Before doing that embed, yesterday also I was showing you how to create a bookmark link for this dashboard. Yesterday I was showing you, while running the report, I was showing you how to create a bookmark link. Once you create a bookmark link, typically it will provide us a link in the URL. Basically, bookmark link suitable for saving or sharing page has been created. It is showing an address bar. Even if you can take this one and you can send any user the email, you can just you can just send it to an email to any user, then that user can log into that using the link. That also works, but that's sharing the link basically. But what if you want to embed your dashboard or any analysis that you have created into the Fusion applications? For that, we have to go for a page customization or page personalization. We have to do that step, right? Let's do that. How we can do that page customization? Basically, before doing page customization, we have to remember few things. Basically, whenever we wanted to embed the report in any place of your Fusion applications, basically you have to identify where you want to embed that report. Not every page allow you to embed the report in the application. Basically only some pages in the Fusion applications allows you to embed that report. That is a basic fundamental. So how do we know which page allow the embedding of the report or which page doesn't allow? Okay, we'll talk about it. So to figure out that, basically we have to start knowing how to do the personalization. To do the personalization of the Fusion application, basically, as it is a SaaS model, as we don't have access to the application server or any place, typically whatever customization you have to do on this page itself. For that, Oracle has given some tools. And to access those tools, basically you should be having a proper role like finance administrator or HR administrator or application implementation consultant. You should have these primary roles given to you. Only then you could do the page customization. How do we know whether that role is given to you or not? Typically under the user, what you need to do, under the username, if you drop down here, there should be something called manage customizations menu. If it is not there, it means you don't have that level of access. Typically this report user one are be the one that we created, and that is the reason this user doesn't have you created, and this user doesn't have proper roles assigned. We know what roles assigned to this user. We assigned a finance analyst Australia, and we have assigned sales vice president, and we have assigned human resource specialist. Basically only those three roles are assigned to this user. That's why you are not seeing the additional access here. What I will do, I will just sign out and log in as any user who has a full level of access. Okay, so I can log as finance IMPL or HCM IMPL. All these are administrators. Typically they can have access to most of the duty roles, right? So I will go as finance implementation user, and this user will have administrator access. Basically, let me take to the sandbox first. Okay, so it's we're logged in. So once we're logged in, basically if we go and drop down here, typically you could say the manage customization administration part here. This administration part was missing for that user. Basically, how do you get that? Basically it is nothing but we have administration duty privilege, which is assigned to the administrators, basically human resource administrator, finance administrator, or application implementation consultant job roles. So here, to play around the page, basically we are trying to embed some data. Whatever application we have here, on top of it we are doing some modifications. So what Oracle do, Oracle won't allow you to do the modifications directly on the page. For that, what Oracle says, before doing any modifications on the page, create your own environment. In that own environment, do whatever you want. That own environment is called as sandbox. So create your own environment first. Go here and create your own sandbox first. Go to manage sandboxes. In this, create your own, click on add, create your own sandbox and give that a name. So typically I wanted to give a name RB embed reports. I will just say that. Okay, so I would say version 1, or I would say give a date. Date will be appended automatically to the sandbox, nothing to worry. So I can give a description. Sorry. Okay, so and description, I'm just writing it to add report content over application, Fusion applications. Right, save and close. So now we have created a sandbox. It means you are trying to have your own environment where you can go and play around or do your own changes. But remember, we are not, it's your own environment. Whatever changes you do, it won't get committed to the mainline code. All your changes will be residing in your sandbox only, basically. So in your sandbox, you can play as much as you want. So typically what is happening here, it is internally creating your own sandbox environment. That sandbox environment basically is nothing but it's another metadata service files. Basically typical XML files will get created internally, and there we can go ahead and play. And the naming of the sandbox will be like this. Is created with the label as, this is the label. With this label, our sandbox will get created. Basically, it is an internal a reference label. So click on OK. Now you have your own sandbox got created here, right? So here it is last modified is 5/7/2018, modified by last financial MPL. So once we have the sandbox created, go ahead and activate the sandbox. Once you activate the sandbox, you will see a bar on top of this one saying that you are in the sandbox. That means you are in the sandbox here. You are in the sandbox. So now you can go ahead and start doing customizations. How can you do customizations? Means whatever changes I do, whatever changes I do now, does those changes won't get committed into the database? No. Whatever transactions you do in any of your applications while the sandbox enabled, those transactions like you are creating an employee or creating a journal, those things will get created automatically. It's all talking about the page level changes, changing the property of the page, changing the background color, or changing the icon, or changing the text property, like make it get hidden or make it as a required. Those changes we can do, but and those changes won't get committed into the database until and unless you publish the sandbox. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this sandbox in detail when I talk about personalization. So typically once we enable the sandbox, now what our intention is to embed the report or analysis that we have created in the Fusion applications into your in the BS server into your Fusion applications. So where you can do that. So most of times the recommended way of embedding the dashboards into the Fusion applications is every user will have access to something called My Dashboard. Okay, it is not here. Typically, it is hidden in the Springboard. So there is something called so what is the dashboard? Okay, let me check that. That has so we have general accounting dashboards and payables dashboard. We should have something called My Dashboard. Okay, probably this person is not an employee basically, as this is FFN underscore MPL is not an administrator. That is the reason it is not showing up. So what I will do, I will log in as some employee basically who is a typically administrator. So let me log out and log in as some employee who is an administrator. Then that person will have the My. Typically financial implementation user won't log into the system every day, right? So let me log in as some user. I have the list of users who I can use. So I will log in as maybe. Let me log in as this user. This user is a real employee, basically, who should have access to everything. Yep. And this user should be having access to customizations. Yes. And typically this person should also have access to my dashboard. It is available under my reporting. Okay. So my reporting, this has a dashboard. So typically there is no data available here. So as this user, HR user, is having HR dashboard. If this is a finance user, they should have finance dashboard. And if a sales user, sales dashboard. There's no data available here. Okay, it's available here. So these three dashboards are already available for this user. If you see here, this user has already a lot of dashboards available here. Typically what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my dashboard as well to this existing page. Typically this Curtis Fiati is a HR specialist basically. And as this person is HR specialist, this person has access to a lot of dashboards which are given as part of the Oracle product. And now I can customize it, and I can modify these dashboards, or I can add my own dashboard at the bottom or in any of my pages. So let's do that. To do that, basically again what I need to do, I need to activate my sandbox first. So I'm going here, and this is the sandbox I created, and I'm activating the sandbox. Once sandbox is activated, basically, then you can go to the page where do you want to add the content. Go to my reporting and go to your dashboard. You can go here, and now what you wanted to do, you wanted to add your content to this dashboard basically. So it is the existing dashboard for this user. Basically has access to all these dashboards got embedded in this application already. So what I wanted to add my dashboard as well at the bottom probably. So what I will do, I will go here, and again I need to go here, and now I need to click on customize pages. We are in sandbox now. Now we are about to customize this page. So go here and customize pages. Basically then you get a provision to customize the page. It is a page, and this page we have something called add content, select, and structure. Basically add content tab will be used whenever you wanted to add any component to this page. You can add any component to this page only when this page has a box. How do we know this page has a box or not? If you see any button says add content, it means you can add a content to this. If you see plus add content, then you can add content to this page. Though it is add content tab, you are in the add content tab, it doesn't mean that you can add any content to this page. If you go to any other page, and if you go and customize that page, even though you can, example, let us say I'm going home again. I'm not modifying anything here, just to demonstrate. So
Lakshmi,
yeah,
let's say we are doing this customization in test instance. Okay.
yeah.
So how can we migrate to production?
Yeah, we will talk about that. When I talk about personalizations, we'll go there. We have procedure for that. Okay, so I'm going to different page. I'm going to workforce structures, different page. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to add content to that page. So what I will do, I'll go to that page, and in that page also you can customize that page. In that page customization, I want to add the content. Let us see if we have provision to add a content here. So you have to this page. What I wanted to do, I wanted to customize this page. So again, you have to go here and click on the customize pages.
So any customization sandbox should be activated, right?
Yes, if you want to do any customizations, you have to activate the sandbox first.
Okay.
After activating the sandboxes, do whatever customizations you want. And then if you are good with the customizations that you have done, then you can publish the sandbox basically. Okay.
Okay.
Now, here when I say customize pages, it is saying that at what level you want to customize this page. Do you want to customize that if it will be, this is enabled if it has a time card enabled in your system, whereas typically it will show up 3 levels: organization level, country level, and site level. So do you want to enable this customization at organization level, means any department level or any business unit level or any legal entity level? Or do you want it to customize at country level? Or do you want to customize site level? So typically I will say I will customize at site level. So click on OK. Then here also, when you say customization, you can see add content, select and structure. When I say add content, can I add content to this page? There's no add content box available anywhere here. It means I cannot add content to this page. That's the meaning of it. I cannot add content to this page because this page doesn't have a box field. Basically, box field nothing but it's a container field. That container can always hold any of your custom objects. This page is created with the ADF, and in the ADF faces page, we didn't create any box container on this page. That is the reason you cannot add any content to this page. So this page doesn't take any new report or any other content. You cannot create a standard text or standard URL, something like that directly here. The other ways of adding the URLs like that, but typically we cannot add any content to this page. That's the meaning. That's what I want to show. Okay, so we have to go to the pages where you can add the content. That is the place where you can add the reports. Basically, that is a primary check you have to keep in mind. So let me close this one and let me go to the dashboard page again and let me add my report there. So I didn't close it initially, so I'm closing it as well. So surprisingly, I'm still wondering why my dashboard is not available here. I'm going to HR dashboard. Basically, there should be my dashboard. We will see why it is not coming up. So I will go here and try to add. I have to customize the page here. This page, I'm customizing the page. And here I will, when I'm trying to customize this page, basically, if you remember, it is not asking what level you want to customize. You want to customize at country level or you want to customize at site level. That part is not coming up here. So basically, if it is not coming up here, it means it is doing this change at the site level. That's the meaning of it. So now here, what you wanted to do, there is a provision for add content. If you click on the add content, and here you can see what you wanted to add. I will talk about application content and components later. As we are talking about dashboard, click on the reports analytics. In this, we have BA presentation server is the one basically where we do all our report creations. BA presentation server, shared folders, and that custom is our folder. Under custom, we have our folder for tech batch 3. Click on tech batch 3, and here, what is our where do we create our dashboard? Where do we create our dashboard? Okay, let me add this this one. Yeah, it is our dashboard. So I will add it here. It means I'm adding my TechBatch 3 analysis dashboard at the top of top of my top of this basically. So, and you can always change it. You can always so this is the dashboard created. Whatever I have created, I got added at the top of my page because I add the content here. It is my dashboard. It's still rendering. So now this dashboard will start showing up on my page, basically in my HR dashboard. So if you wanted to add this one at the specified location, we can add that before identifying where to add it. So does this dashboard will show up for everyone? It should show up for everyone. The reason is we are adding it at site level, and as it is added at site level, it will show up for everyone when we publish this sandbox. And these reports are visible only for this user. Basically, these reports coming up based on the role that person has assigned to, and based on that, these reports are showing up here. So let us say I added this dashboard here, and if I go here and go and publish this sandbox, so I can go more, and here before publishing the sandbox, I will download all the changes whatever I have done. So I did changes to my UI pages, HR dashboard page definition, and HR dashboard JSF page. So I'm going to save this zip file with me. The reason is if I wanted to export these changes to the production environment, I will export that files to the production basically. So once I download it, typically it will be available in my contents page. So make sure make sure that has some data. Basically, it should not has the 0 KB. It means that some data got downloaded basically. If you open that sandbox, it actually says that you created a sandbox, and that you created a sandbox and you embedded a it's the name of the sandbox. It will say that. And if you open that it is a customer at site level changes, and these are the changes we have done basically. So these are the changes we have done. So basically we have added a BI report, and this report got added. So it creates the Internet Kids XML file, which will say that we have added an analysis. This is the analysis we have added, shared custom tech batch analysis file. So these are downloaded, and now what I will do, I will just go and publish it. Once I go and publish it, it means whatever changes are there, those changes are getting committed to the mainline code. Okay, so now if I go and close the sandbox, okay, I'm out of the sandbox now. Now if you go to my reporting and go to HR dashboard, typically I should be able to see my changes at the top. Now what I will do, I will log out as this user now, and I will log in as another user basically, and I will see whether if I can see this dashboard and this dashboard basically. So I will just log out and log in as some different user. So it is my dashboard. It is still rendering actually. So I will just log out and log in as some different user, maybe Mitch Blum. If I log in as a Mitch Blum, Mitch Blum has access to HR dashboard. No, this user doesn't have access to HR dashboard. Let me get someone who has access to HR dashboard, probably someone with Betty Anderson, no, maybe something, Robert Jackman. My reporting and HR dashboard. So now this person has again access to my analysis report because I have created this report, this analysis at site level. So it is applicable for each and every user, whoever has access to this HR dashboard, because this is where I created my analysis basically. So that is how I can embed my reports into the Fusion applications. So how to format the data, how to make this report coming into this respective folders, or at the bottom or in the middle. I will talk about that when I talk about personalizations. We need to have a little more fundamental for that. So it's a way of exporting or moving the dashboards or reports from the Fusion applications to the from the BA server to the Fusion applications. And one thing we have to remember is we have to make sure we could add the report or any content to the Fusion application pages only to the specific pages. Not all pages are allowed to add your report in the Fusion applications. Wherever page we have the box container available, that is where we can add the content, and we can add the dashboards or analysis or BA publisher reports over to the Fusion applications. Okay, and there are some other ways as well people access the reports in the Fusion applications basically. So how we can do, basically, this person don't have, let's see, my team. If the person go to my team and go to my performance, basically, if the person go navigate to any page, some pages, as part of the design itself, Oracle will give links to the reports in the application itself. For example, it is a page, any page where you can see like this, like a chart. So you can click on that one. It typically gives us access to browse catalog, means you can directly go to the BA server where you can start looking for your reports. And also you can, if you have any reports, if this user created any reports, those reports will go by default in his folders, my folders, and he can access his or her own reports. And also if any reports are shared with this user, basically, or the report is shared for the people, for the global people, or for everyone, typically those reports again will show up here. If you click on this one and you click on view, then automatically it will go to that report directly from there. So it is other way of navigating to the BA reports from the Fusion applications. Any page which has this report icon, that means that you have access to that. Okay, that is another thing. This report analysis doesn't have any information to display, right? And also there is another place where we can access the reports, basically, that is called infolets. So infolet is an icon. So basically in every page, wherever you can see 3 dots, basically, then any second dot onwards will be called as infolets. If I click on the infolets, in the infolets, you have access to reports. Basically, that report size will be little bit different than the regular reports. Example, it is also a report basically, and this report size is actually 130 by 150, 130 width and 150 height. That is the width. Basically, we can create very number of reports in one infolet. So every infolet will have 3 reports. Basically, let us say I'm taking this infolet. Everything is infolet here, and this infolet. This is report 1. If you click on this one, it will turn back. It is called report 2. Okay, and some infolets has front view, back view, and also there is something called extendable view. What is extendable view? Example, if you see this one, it doesn't have back view, but it has extendable view. If you click on this one, another report will open. See this one, another report will open. So this is infolet where typically we can have 3 reports in one icon. Front report, this is front report, back report, and last one is extensible report. Basically, those are 3 reports we enable. And again, this infolets, let us create an infolet. Basically, before creating infolet, so this infolet will be enabled. It won't be enabled by default. Basically, you have to enable the infolet in your system. How do you enable the infolet in your system? Basically, administrator should go to the structure. Basically, go to the structure. In the structure, you have to, there is some button called system options. That system options button won't be enabled by default. You have to go to a sandbox to enable that system options. How do you go to sandbox again? Go here, and okay, this person doesn't have access to sandbox. Typically, okay, let me go and do that first. So I will log in as some FunMPL. I'm logging as financial user now. This financial user has access to more number of infolets here, because financial infolets will have general ledger, general accounting infolets, and purchase user-defined infolets, and plan to produce infolets, and order to cash infolets. These order to cash infolets, plan to produce infolets, general accounting infolets, these things will come by default, by default with the product basically. And there is something called user-defined infolets. Basically, in this user-defined infolets, you can add your own infolet basically, and whatever infolet is added to this user-defined infolets page, those infolets can be removed or disabled, and also you can have your own infolet basically. That's the meaning of the user-defined infolets. So how do we, by default, you won't see these infolets in your page, in your instance, whenever you install it, whenever you provision it, you won't see that. For that, typically what you need to do, you have to go to a structure. Before going to the structure, and then structure, and we have to go to the system options. So the system option button should be there. It won't show up until unless you go into the sandbox. So go to the sandbox again, and now your sandbox is not visible here. Why it is not visible here? Because that has got published already. So you can go ahead and create your new sandbox. Infolet testing, save and close. So once you create the sandbox, once you activate the sandbox, then you can see the button called system options. So whenever we activate the sandbox, typically what happens is instance will get refreshed and go to the home page basically. So though I am into this structure page now, this structure page will go away once we activate the sandbox. We have to navigate back again to the structure page. That's the procedure we have to follow. So whenever we create sandbox, it takes little time because it has to create multiple files internally. So create it. And I'm going here and making it as active. Once I make it as active, it will navigate to the home page again. And again, I will come back to the structure page. So what is the structure page? And there are many properties to talk about. When I talk about personalization and customization again, I'll talk about the appearances, themes, and I'm going here. More and structure. Another structure, we have something called okay, so this user again doesn't have access to this user again doesn't have access to that. Let me log in as someone who has access. Typically, that user should have access to application implementation consultant job role. If that implementation consultant job role is not assigned, typically they can't see it. Go to structure again. Okay, let me do like this. So let me go to setup and maintenance. Let me search for the task. There are quite a bit changes with release 13, it looks like. Okay, I don't know the navigation. I'll check on that, so don't worry. So let us say I wanted to, once the infolets are already enabled in this instance, nothing to worry. If they are not enabled, basically we have to enable them. As it is already enabled in these instances, we should be good. So typically what I wanted to do, I want to create an infolet and I want to add the infolet on this page. Basically, that's what I wanted to do. To add the infolet on the page, typically what we have to take care is basically to create the infolet, we have to customize the page.
So to create infolets, Lakshmi, you have to create a sandbox first?
Yes, to create infolet as well, we have to create the sandboxes. We have to do.
So sandbox is nothing but an isolated environment, no, for testing.
Right. So once you create the sandbox, then you will get a chance to create the infolet. Once you create the infolet, and once you publish the sandbox, then that infolet will be available in this list, basically.
Yeah, and once you publish the sandbox is gone forever.
Yes, once sandbox is published, whatever changes we did with the sandbox, it will be committed to the mainline code, and that sandbox will go away. That is the reason we have to download it whenever you create any sandbox, so that it will be residing in your system, so that it can migrate to production.
Is this a Java concept coming from Java? Is the origin of a sandbox concept coming from Java?
Yes, it is actually. Once the OEF started in the EBS, Oracle Application Framework,
yeah,
where we started doing the personalizations, same fundamentals is incorporated in the ADF as well. It's a pure metadata concept, basically. Any changes should be in the form of XML, and that XML data will talk about what changes you do, And whenever we incorporate the changes in the mainline code, you move this XML changes into the mainline code. That's the fundamental behind that.
Okay, thanks, Lakshmi.
So let me log in as financial user, where I could show you more number of infolets. So once you create the infolet, so typically if you go to the finance, general accounting infolet. So this general accounting infolet has, once you create the infolet, basically the list of infolets will show here. Yeah, here's the list of infolets. So here you can see the long list of infolets what are available in the general accounting tab basically. So once we create our infolet, that infolet will show here. So how do we create the infolet? To create the infolet, typically we have to customize the pages. Apart from enabling sandbox, you have to customize the page. Once you customize the page, then you could able to go ahead and start creating the infolet on the application. Go here again, and if you go down, yes, before we have seen the pre-order infolet, now you can create infolet basically. Once you click on create infolet, then typically it will ask to give the title for the infolet. So maybe I wanted to give title as some RBGL infolet. So here it is the dimensions. So one is this called 1:1. So do you want to have infolet as 1:1 size, or do you want infolet as 2:1 size? 2:1 is like this. So what kind of infolet you wanted to begin with, basically, or you want to get a bigger one, 2:2. So what kind of infolet you wanted to plan on? Maybe if you wanted to plan on 1:1 infolet, basically, then we have to make sure your report is created in the 1:1 size. And this infolet has two things. It has front and back. Do you want to enable back view? Yes, I will enable back view as well. And do you want to enable expanded view? Yes, you can enable expanded view. When you can enable expanded view, you have to say what is the size of that. So again, you place a 2:1 or 1:2, or it's a bigger one. What kind of report is your expanded one? So you have to enable the front, back, and the expanded view. We have to enable all this. So what we will do to create an infolet, let's create a small infolet from our side with the 1:1 size. Basically 1:1, nothing but 130 into 130, 130 pixel width and 130 pixel height. That's the meaning of it. And typically 3:2 basically is talk about 350, I think 350 width and 250 height, something like that. So typically what we will do, we'll create a two reports. We can use for bigger one, we can create our mini report. Let's create a small reports with this kind of small icons. And then whatever existing reports we have, we can add it in the bigger one. So let's create one and then come to this infolet and add that. Okay. So I will quickly go and create a quick, as I'm in financial IMPL, I will I will go to analytics. Okay, so I'll go to the analytics and I'll create a small report here. So what I will do, I will go ahead and create something in the payables. Basically, I have one small example for top 5 suppliers report. So I will take it from the payable invoices transaction real time. So I'll take payable invoice transaction real time just to bring out the suppliers who has a top 5 invoice amount pending. I'll go here and let's go for supplier, and let's go for some supplier, and then it is supplier, and also let's get the invoice amount. So where we can see the invoice amount, invoice details, invoice amounts, and some invoice amount. Okay, so we get that. And what we need to do here, basically it will give the invoice amounts for all the suppliers. So I just want invoice amount of top 5 people only. Okay, so what I will do, I will go here and edit formula here. We have formulas, number of formulas here basically. Where you can have many formulas like we have this aggregate formulas, no, something called top n. So maybe I want only top 5 suppliers. So I will go here and I will just display the top 5 suppliers. So you got the top 5 suppliers here. So I just want this top 5 suppliers as a chart basically, right? So maybe some bar. So
Lakshmi, top 5 means invoice amount is greater than total amount, right?
Right. I just can, yeah, I'm not applying any other conditions. We can add more conditions on top of it. So I will get something. This is my report, top 5 analysis here. So, and I would remove this one and I'll remove the title as well. And I will make this size as something, I want to buy size as some 150 to 150. And yep. And listened, I wanted to keep any listened, don't keep any listened. And then, yep, titles and labels. Yeah, I wanted to use titles and labels. That's okay. So I got this one. So maybe I want to increase it a little bit more. Okay, I will do this and I will take out this top. Remove the title and vertical axis, remove it, horizontal axis, remove it. Just like that, something. Oh, and also we wanted to get the, let's see, what is this? The bottom one should be amount, right? So measure should be we didn't get the amounts yet, right? So let's get the amounts too. So let me get the amount as well. So yes, we have this amount. So let's display this amount in the dollars basically. So how do you display that? Go here and go to column properties, go to data format and make it as currency. Maybe dollar symbol. Yeah, I mean, I'm not using any currency conversion, so I'm just using it. So now we have the data displayed into 0 million, 40 million, 80 million, and 120 million, right? Okay, so we will keep this as one report. So let's save it. I will just I'll just name it as infolettes. Again, today I don't have class, so I will extend for some more time. So, so I'm going to have the top 5 suppliers. Okay, so I read that. Okay, and if you wanted to modify the colors, you can modify it. Basically, if you wanted to keep, if it is more less than 40 million, one color, more than 40 million, different color, you will have the provision in the conditional formatting. Here you can mention like if no, conditional formatting, like if you wanted to add any condition like invoice amount is less than 40 million, maybe you can have some other color. Probably if you want, you can have some other color. Oh, maybe, yeah, nothing is less than 40. No, we have something as 40 million. Maybe I didn't add it properly. Oh, it's not added. Invoice amount is less than it is there already. So if it is less than 40 million, if less than 40 million, keep it in a different color. So it will keep a different color. So you can keep more formatting here. Okay, that's added. So now let's create another. The front one is done. So front one, I'll keep it as a 2:1 icon maybe. Front one is done. Let's go and get the back one. So let's go and create another analysis for the overdue amounts. The same thing, payable invoices. Who has or any suppliers who has overdue amounts. So for that, we'll go payable invoices, installment, real time. It's all functionality. Basically, you can payable invoices, installments, real time. So here we are going to have invoice details, and we have supplier information here. Get the supplier information, supplier party name, and then we will get the installment details basically. So if they haven't if the due date, basically if the supplier passed due date, example, let us say if the supplier is due date is past 1/1/2018, then typically that person is overdue basically. So what I will do, I will get the due date. Where can I get the due date? I can get the due date from payroll invoice installment details, and here we have something called due date. Yeah. So if due date is, what I would say, if due date is if the supplier passed due date, then I will display the due amount. If the supplier doesn't pass the due date, then I won't display the due amount. That's my condition is, right? So I'll go to the formula. So typically what I need to do, if let us say I will think that, let me assume that some 2017-01-01 is my date. If this invoice due date is greater than 2017-0101, it means this person has to pay the due. So I will print the due amount. If this invoice due date is before this one, then I will consider the due amount as 0. So for that, what I need to do, I need to use the if statement on top of it. Basically, if this invoice due date is greater than this one, then print the due amount, else don't print the due amount. That's my condition. So how do you apply that condition? Basically, again, we can rely on the we have something called case statement or if statement. DB functions, expression, sorry. We have case statement, case or switched if statement. If I can, in the case here I need to write my expression. Okay, so case, I would say when this difference between this due date and 2017-0101 is if it is past that, then display the due amount, else display the due amount as 0. That's what I wanted to display. Okay, so let us, how do you get the difference between two dates? For that, I was telling syntax yesterday, that is the timestamp difference. So between the 2 days, basically we have timestamp. I'm going to give the day, and I'm going to give day here, and I'm going to get the difference between this date and this date. So it is what I'm going to use. So I will go here, and the interval should be I will treat as a day. And timestamp one, my date is 2017-0101. Basically, yeah. So what I will do, I will get my timestamp here. So typically my date is 2017-0101, and I have to give the data in the timestamp format basically. So I have to typecast into the timestamp, and timestamp 2 is this date. If the number of days is greater than 0, okay, that's my thing. If it is, sorry, if it's difference between those two, if less than equal to 0, then typically it is my, I won't give case here. Case when greater than 0, less than equal to 0, then display the due amount. Where do we get the due amount? So we have invoice installment amounts. In the invoice installment amounts, we have something called unpaid amount in base currency. So I will take it here. That's it. So case when is past the due date, print the due amount, else print the amount as 0. So that's what it is. So let's say what it will return. Let's test it first, and then we will go to the, yeah, there are some zeros are there, and there are some amounts are there. Okay. Okay, so we displayed the amount, and also we will display, the status. Basically, there is one thing which there is something called validation status code. I don't have much idea on that. Basically, invoice details, reference information, and we have something called validation status code. So basically, this validation status code, basically, if let's see. So basically, this validation status code will say that if it is incomplete or needs approval or cancelled, then we can say that this transaction is dispute transaction. Else we could say it as ready transaction. So I'm going to group these things, group a couple of things together here. what I'm going to do, I'm going to group whatever status code is incomplete or status code needs approval, and whatever status code is cancelled, I would call those, I will group it as dispute. Else I will group it, I will say it as ready. I just want to mention like this. So for that, what I need to do, again, I need to apply the case statement. So I would say case when status code in incomplete or needs approval or cancelled, then I would print the expression. I would print the expression as dispute. It's a dispute amount. Else it is, this amount is ready amount. I would say like this. Okay. Okay, so I will click on OK, then click on results. Let us see how the status will come up. So I'm just pulling the due amount, and also I'm categorizing what kind of due amount is that. Is it is disputed due amount, or it is no dispute basically. So that's the difference between dispute and ready. So with that information, I will just create another infolet, a simple infolet, which will give a simple pivot table saying that this much amount is dispute and this much amount is ready. That's what it will say, and I will show the infolet in my Fusion applications. Okay, so this is what it is. So on top of it, what I will do, I will apply some pivot table here. Okay, and the pivot table here, and then this is the pivot table. And in this pivot table, basically what I will do, this is my pivot table, and I will convert this pivot table into graph. This is my pivot table, and in that pivot table, I won't keep this supplier or party name. So it will just give us the amount by dispute, right? So by ready or dispute basically, and I'll remove the these labels again, and then let it come. Let it come first. I will play around with this. So I'll keep the size as some smaller size. Maybe 150 by 150. Okay, so yeah. And I won't display these titles. Okay, so it came up, but size is not yet changed. And I will make it as horizontal. Oh, sorry. Did I do anything? Okay, so probably I have to bring the Maybe I need to revert the I wanted to change it into this. I want this to come to the x-axis, and I want to make it as y-axis. Okay, let me do this. Maybe I was. Okay, so what I did, actually, I have another one. I have another one created. So let me pull that basically. With the same conditions, I created another one. So yeah, this is the one. So this is the one I created basically. So what mistake I have done? So we got the same things. We got the same information here, but they do any. I kept the user column name as axis title, so maybe that's already I missed it. So I created the same thing. Whatever analysis we have created, nothing different. It is the same thing, same formulas, and then same information. Same thing is incomplete. Then dispute else ready. Same thing, and I have created that information here. And I also created a performance title here. This performance title nothing but just the number. Whatever the audio amount is there, the total amount I have displayed here. That's what I did. So I have those two infolets got created. Now what I will do, I'll go here and create a new infolet here. Before creating infolet, I have to go ahead and customize the page. So go here and then create infolet. Yeah. So here, what is the title you want? Title you want to give? Top suppliers and what tubes. And what is the front one? Maybe I need to have a little bit bigger one. So 2:1 size. So I wanted to have back view as well. And I wanted to have expanded view as well. Okay, so then you can save and close. Then typically you will have the infolet added to your sandbox. Now, once it is added to your sandbox, then typically what you can do, you can go to that. This is your supplier infolet. Go to add content and just choose your infolet. It will just go for reports analytics and be a presentation server. And we have shared folders. In that we have custom. in the custom folder, we have something. Tech batch 3. On the tech batch 3, we have infolets. Under infolets, we have the first one is top 5. Just add it to the front. Okay, so it got added. So it has got added to the front. This is our on this one. Go to the back one and you add your content here. So fortunately, I have one created. Close it, and it is what we have. And go to the expanded view and add your content here. So we'll add some content which we have created before. Maybe something from journal analysis 1. So you want to add the whole dashboard? Yes, I want to add the whole dashboard. Add it. So now it has the three analysis got created, 3 inference got created. You see that it won't expand. This is the info. It has some data at the bottom, but we can't see that. Basically, if you want to see that, typically you have to go to actions and link detailed report. Then automatically you could able to, you can link detailed report as well. Actually, for that one, what is the detailed report? This is the detailed report. Yeah, it is a report. Done. So we have actually appended, you can minimize it, and the back data will come up. If you want to go, if you click on hit, front data will come up. Now if you publish it, before publishing it, make sure you get this one downloaded. Download all the details to your local machine. That's a must. Okay, and then just go and publish it. So once you publish it, anyone who has access to the general ledger infolets, basically they could able to go to the infolets and automatically they could able to see the infolet in this page basically. So now it will show up here. Now what I will do, I will just log out as, before I close it, I'm going to log out as FinaMPL and I will log in as some financial user. So there are actually list of users available in our instance basically. It's a test instance, right? So Oracle will publish this SCM users. I want financial user. So I will log in as Casey Brown. So I will log out and I will log in as Casey Brown, who is actually the director of finance. So if you log in as Casey Brown, then Casey Brown typically should be able to access the infolet that's got created. So if I go to general accounting infolets, so why this page is a little bit different than the remaining thing? Maybe someone has enabled sandbox and working on this. That is the reason it is looking different basically. If you want to go back to the normal one, just go to this one and exit the sandbox. Then you can see it like a normal people only. It's taking some time. Let me log in as someone else, maybe Anita Kennedy. Come on. Okay, it came up. Okay, it came up. So it is actually general accounting infolets. So in this general accounting infolets, let me exit the sandbox first. Then I could say it is a clean instance. So once we exit the sandbox, basically whatever changes that person is doing will go away and we get the normal instance. So in the normal instance, we are in a normal instance now. So we have our infolet got created here. See that? Top supplies and overdues. And we have the overdue amounts here. And then if we expand it, then typically you can get the full information here. And if you want detailed report, I didn't enable it yet. So there's one more action called detailed report. If I click on the detailed report, then typically it will go to the new page of full report of this information. That's what you can see. Okay. So it is an infolet. So typically what, if this user don't want this infolet to show up in this general accounting infolet, typically that person can go here and go to whatever infolet is there, then just tick and disable it, and automatically go away from here. And so that he can keep only the one he really needs. Example, global revenue is taking a lot of place. You may not look at this every day. So click on this one, it will automatically go off. It may look neat basically. You have the provision. You can, if you want to get it access again, then you can go and click on this one and automatically show up. So how do the infolet access will be decided? If you have access to that, first of all, this general accounting infolet, then you could able to get it. How do you get access to general accounting infolet? This general accounting infolet actually comes along with the predefined roles. Is a general accounting infolet is one duty role. That duty role will be given to a predefined job role. So that's how it will come up basically. So every infolet, basically cash management infolet or this infolet or user defined infolet is where you can add any kind of information. You can get it from HCM or finance or SCM. Any kind of infolets can be added. And we have source to settle infolets and plan to produce infolets or cash infolets. Depends upon job role. These infolets will come along with your roles assigned basically. Okay, so that's the infolet, and we have covered almost all the things. Only one thing I didn't cover, that is actually KPI, key performance indicator. I will just quickly create that one so that we can completely close the OTBI today. So give me 5 minutes. I will finish it off. The key performance indicator. So for that, I'm going to log in as HCM user. And so key performance indicator, typically what it is, in this analysis, we have seen all this stuff till now. And we have also seen actionable intelligence, agent and action yesterday, and scorecard, KPI, and both are typical of same way of work together. So key performance indicator, what typically it will do is, it has a threshold value. I'll get some subject areas. So let me give me 1 minute. I don't know why it is coming up. I'll get some employee data basically quickly. Oh, it has too much of details. Okay, workforce, assignment real time, workforce management, assignment real time. Okay, so let me, what typically key performance indicator will do, it will have one threshold value. It will look at the threshold value. It is a KPI board basically. So I wanted to see the higher KPI. So number of employees. If the number of employees in that country is more than 50, that means it is some good sign. If it is less than 50, then it is a warning sign. If it less than 10, it's a critical sign, something like that. So typically, actual value, I wanted to keep some value as 50, and actual value is nothing but what column you are comparing to. I'm going to compare with headcount column basically. So headcount column target value, if it, let us say I will give it as 50. So basically I will compare the headcount with 50. You can apply this one to anything else. So 50 and dimensions. You wanted to get the value by country. So I'm going to get the value by country, number of employees by country and by business unit, something like that. So I will say location, country, and by country and by business unit. Number of employees by country and by business unit. So I would say that. And states. So what's the value? I don't want by percentage. I would say if anything less than 30, it means 0 to 30 is red, and 30 to 50 is I will say 10, 15. Any employee count less than 15 is red. I can mark this color. I can change this image. I can change the color, and I can modify the warning messages. Everything I can do. If less than 15 is red and less than to 50 is warning, fewer than 50 is okay. That's my it is. If no data is there for that country and for that business unit, make it as critical as well. Okay, just click on next. And you wanted to once to justify what do you mean by that critical or warning or whatever. If you want to justify that, you can add a document for that, or you can add any analysis if you have. Maybe if you have some analysis, then what you can do, you can add that analysis here. Maybe some analysis, some briefing book. Yesterday we have seen briefing book as well, so we can add it. And custom attributes, basically for the labels, it is warning, okay, and critical, right? In those places, if you wanted to keep any other text, and you can derive that text from other column as well. You can derive the text from other columns as well using the formulas as well. You have the provision. Okay, I'm not doing anything, so I'm just clicking on finish. So I am going to make it as RB headcount KPI. So yeah, it is done. If we go back to home, then you can that RB headcount KPI. If you open that, it will say that. So for this country, for this business unit, actual count is 9. But we have given the less than 15 is red. So status is warning. What is the variance? Target is 50. Variance is 41, basically. That is 82%. So it will give a quick status like this. And you can also have infolet kind of things for this. Or you can have your own, you can embed it in your Fusion applications if you wanted to. It's also very much indicator, one quick snapshot to give us what is the performance of your indicators, whatever information it is. So it's also very useful. Same thing, scorecard also self-explainable. You can try it out. And KPI watch list, actually we can register if something is going below 10 or below, if something going to critical, then you will get an alert like agents, what we have seen. Similarly, we can get an alert saying that, hey, some performance indicator is falling down, go and take a look at it, something like that. Okay, right. So with that, I will conclude this OTBI part, which we have covered all this one, and we have covered all these things basically, and we left with BA publisher reporting, which will start from tomorrow. And then this is actually main part, typically for if you wanted to go with the pixel perfect reports, or if you want to go with the interface files to the banks or to other third parties, a text file or a e-text file, or electronic data exchange, EDI files. All those things will be done in this published reporting, which we will look at it tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask me, else you can drop off.
Lakshmi, tomorrow's session is till 8 or 8:30?
Tomorrow's session also till 8:30.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So KPI, no need to deploy or something like that, right? No need to put it in a custom folder.
Okay. So once we create it, basically we need to move it to production, right? So to moving to production is actually the way to moving the data to production. What you need to do, you have to go to the respective folder, or you have to go to the respective report. Basically, example, I wanted to move this headcount KPI to the production. Typically, what you need to do, you have to take that and you have to archive it. Once you archive it, typically you have to wanted to keep the same permission timestamps. You click on OK, then automatically a zip file will get downloaded to your local system. Okay, so it will be available here. Is like this catalog file. Then typically, if you want to move it to the different instance, go to a different instance. Maybe let us say I'm going to a different instance here, miscellaneous. And here what I will do, I will go and unarchive, and I will browse from local machine, wherever my file is, and just choose the file and just unarchive it. That's it. It's as simple as such, moving between the different instances. So once you create the report in any instance, that's it. Nothing to deploy like anything. It will keep working and keep running. You can keep scheduling and keep doing anything. If you want to move data between different instances, typically you have to archive the file and unarchive the file. Now, if you go here, do you want it to replace the existing one? Yes, if we have any. If you want to inherit what are the properties we have with the old file, just inherit it, or create your own properties. I'll talk about this in next session. Click on OK, then automatically it will show up here. So you see, here's my KPI now. If I run the KPI from this one, I can see this. Think of it as a different production instance, which we just moved from test to production, just archiving and unarchiving. Okay. Okay. And yeah, thanks for all your patience.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you. Yeah. See you. Meet tomorrow.